And a good day to everyone. J7409 in here with you, and today I am talking to one of my best friends, Mr. Marlon Rudolph Blake. He's Lieutenant Colonel Marlon Rudolph Blake that you guys have heard me talk about so very much. How are you today, Mr. Blake?
Just fine.
Are you ready to tell us about a little bit of what you used to do in the service?
Well, yeah.
Well, first of all, what branch were you in?
Air Force.
The Air Force. And when did you go in and when did you get out?
I went in right out of high school, 1969 or 49, and I stayed in till 1974, 25 years and 1 month.
Wow.
And I was an aircraft mechanic for a little while, and then I became a pilot, and I enjoyed my career as a pilot, fighter pilot.
You know, you're going to show us some of those planes that you flew in a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be glad to.
And tell us all about how you bomb places and everything else.
Yeah.
I believe, if I remember what you told me correctly, you actually taught a bunch of the airmen how to bomb, didn't you?
Yeah, I was an instructor at the Fighter Weapons School, or the Combat Crew Training School in Las Vegas, prior to going to combat, and I taught them what we was teaching them at the time, and that ain't quite jive with what we were doing in Vietnam, but it gave them the feel for the airplane and how to deliver bombs and stuff like that.
You also taught some over in the Philippines, is that correct?
Yeah, early in my career I went over and helped transition the Filipinos from P-51s to jets, and that was in 1955, early 1956. And I became a member of the Philippine Air Force, one of the few that authorized to wear the badge, and I'll show you that in a little while.
Okay, that sounds great. How many places have you lived during this career?
I quit counting.
I believe you told me you lived in Iran.
Yes, I spent 2 years in Iran with the Shah and his Air Force.
What was that like?
Interesting, but we were flying brand new F-4Es over there, and my job was commander of a team of experts that had been hired by the Shah to help set up their training programs and everything, and we called it, or it was called the TAFT, or Technical Assistance Field Team, 92 people, and that was from August of 71 to August of 73, and I did the test flying and stuff to check the quality of their maintenance and everything, and also off the record I was one of the Shah's favorite pilots as far as building confidence in his pilots. I'd give them what we call confidence rides, show them how the aircraft, how safe it was and how easy it was to handle and stuff. It was an enjoyable tour.
That was quite a different culture to have to kind of adjust to, though, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, yeah. When you take a culture where the people grew up with sticks and stones and you put them into the 20th century aircraft series, that was quite a cultural shock for them. And one of the big things that big problems we had with the people was ulcers. Believe it or not, they bought Rolaids or Gelucel tablets, bought it plane load. But they were good people. They were good people.
And you had a family at this time. Did your children go to school?
Yeah, yeah. The Shah was paying for everything for us. Provide tuition for the kid to the Tehran American School, and paid for all medical care, our housing, everything. Reimbursed the government for our salaries and retirement benefits and everything else. So it was a unique program negotiated with President Nixon and the Shaw. And I was sent there by the president to run that team.
You were in Vietnam also, correct?
Yeah, I went to Vietnam before I went to Iran. The Vietnam tour was late '66 to mid '67, flying out of Thailand.
You told me a story one time, I can't remember where you were, but about something about bamboo and eating a snake.
Yeah, that was jungle survival training in the Philippines before we went to Vietnam or to Thailand. That was interesting.
Well, what does snake taste like?
Tough chicken.
Tough chicken? Oh man, did you guys have to get the snake? And
Oh yeah. It was a 20-foot bamboo boa constrictor at one of the teams that was in the survival school killed, and we divided it up among ourselves so we could experience it. And
well, it's also interesting. You've been to so many places. At some point, I'm going to show different things you have in your house, but you have a lot of stuff that look like they're from Japan and over in the Asian area. What places were you over there?
I was 2 years in Taiwan as chief of flight test at the depot there in Tainan. Got a chance to travel the country and did the villages and stuff, mingle with the people, and wind up with some stuff from there. And we had a furniture maker that was a friend of ours. He made furniture for us, and I've still got several pieces of furniture that he made out of teak for me and stuff. He was a good friend. And
when you've been through your share of earthquakes also. Where was that at when you were in a bad earthquake?
well, we had a real good one there in Taiwan, and it cracked the walls in our house to where you could put your hand in the cracks and stuff. And it sounded like a freight train coming through the house. And we left the house. It was at the end of night, 1 o'clock or something in the morning. And we left the house during the quake and went out in the yard. And when it got through, we went back in and back to bed. But it did crack in our bedroom, the wall to where you could put your hand in the crack.
Wow. Well, I tell you what, let's take just a small break, and then I want to show some of the medals that you have, and then we're going to get to your air pilot stuff, okay?
Yeah. Okay. This is a painting that my wife did when I was flying the F-100. That was in the 50s and 1950s, late 1950s, and she painted that. And then over here is, I was telling you about the Philippine Aviation Badge. That's it up at the top, and the orders authorized me to wear it, officially. And this down below here is another copy of the wings, my wings, the Air Force wings, command pilot. The Silver Star, I was awarded 3 of those for combat, and that's a rank, Lieutenant Colonel. And then the DFCs, Military Service Medal, Air Medal, got 11 of those, and then some other awards there, Accommodation Medals, I got 3 or 4 of those and all that stuff. So, but there are some of the awards that I received in my career. And,
Is that like a prayer up above your portrait there? High flight?
Yeah, that's an old one, a high flight one written by Gillespie a long time ago. And is World War II, and we still use it as our, thing. Ready? This 105 is my airplane I flew in combat, and I got about 2,200 hours flying that over an 8-year period of my career. This was the squadron I was in combat, or in Thailand, it's 13th Fighter Squadron, and this is the proudest of all. Finished 100 missions over North Vietnam, and when I got to my 100th mission, I was on the way home. Thank you. And this here is one of my friends that had tried to define what a fighter pilot is, and my girlfriend bought that for me to put up there, and she got one for herself at the house because she liked it. So,
And here's a shot of Lieutenant Colonel Marlin Rudolph Blake climbing up in his favorite plane. Okay, what kind of plane is this exactly?
This is the F-105, so-called the Thud, and the picture you start out with is a clean airplane, what we call a clean airplane. As you can see, this one is dirtied up. It's got the ammunition that we used, the bombs, the missiles, and stuff that we used in combat.
Does it have torpedoes on it too?
No, they're special weapons. This was an ECM pod that gave us electronic countermeasure. This is a AIM-9 missile, heat-seeking missiles for air-to-air defense. This is a special guided bomb there. And these are the regular conventional 750 pound bomb, and we carried the load of 6 of those. Plus, we could mix that up. And this is the single seat 105D model. We had 2-seaters that we used in the Wild Weasel mission and training missions called the 105G, F, and the G model, different ones. This aircraft would go twice the speed of sound and maximum, and but it was the fastest airplane ever been built for indicated airspeed. It would go over 800 knots on the at sea level. I never had it much over 700. I had take it to 700 on my test, in the test business, to check out the aileron lockout and my control rigging there. At 700 knots, the ailerons lock out, and you just went with the spoilers that were on top of the wing.
Well, it looks like at the very beginning of the plane up front, what is that long needle-looking thing for?
That's what we call a pitot tube that measures you, takes in air pressure, gives you airspeed, and a few other things, but they put it out there so it wouldn't be disturbed. It used to be back on the wing.
I see.
But then the shock wave would disturb it. It was put out there for functional purposes. And of course I had nice radar up front. And that black part is the radar dome. So we had air-to-air ranging. We had air-to-ground capabilities, limited. But we had navigation, low-level navigation with this. We could fly at night through the mountains and everything else. Scary, yes. But accurate, yes. It's a matter of being proficient in it. And but this was a workhorse of the Vietnam conflict from 65 through about 68. when we lost so many, we had to replace it with the F4s and what have you.
Is this the plane that you taught people how to bomb in?
Yeah, this is the one I taught in combat crew training at Las Vegas or Dallas Air Force Base. And
What's it like? I mean, I would be scared slammed to death. This plane will go twice the speed of sound. What's it like flying like that?
well,
What does it feel like sitting in that cockpit?
normal. The aircraft just starts straining a little bit. You can feel it stress on the aircraft, but you got to be at altitude to get Mach 2, twice the speed of sound. It's more noticeable. Your speed more noticeable the lower you get, obviously. And we used to practice atomic delivery with this aircraft. It has a bomb bay, which these bombs here are hung on the bomb bay, and we carried an internal tank that held 390 gallons of fuel internally. But normally, and it was designed for a nuclear carrier, you could put a Mark 7 bomb, which was a 10 kiloton bomb, into bomb bay, and you could make the high-speed runs and then go into your delivery, and it would release that bomb in 0.8 of a second. The doors were open, the bomb was ejected, the doors were closed, 0.8 of a second. And it sounded like and felt like the aircraft were coming apart, because you normally would have a G-load on when it delivered, because you would be in a delivery maneuver, usually either element over the top or a low-level delivery with a high-speed turn going back down, but you try to get 180 degrees from where you're going to drop the bomb and get away from it as soon as you could. And your timing, you knew how long the bomb was going to fly, depending on delivery. And just before explosion, you drop an eye patch over one eye because you'd lose sight on the other eye.
Oh, wow.
Because of the flash, and you drop a lead eye patch over that
There was
one eye.
there was no room to mess up. You had to do everything
and
blip, blip, blip.
Going like crazy.
Is this the plane you told me one time, like teaching them how to bomb? You go down as low as you can, drop it, and pull right straight back.
Yeah.
That is, I had no idea it was this particular plane that went so fast. You had to have precision timing, didn't you?
You had our delivery from our outfit in Korat, Thailand. When we delivered bomb, we went in at altitude. The other wing went in low. That's the reason they lost so many airplanes. But we would come in altitude using as much as we could, somewhere in the low 20s, 25,000 max altitude. We used the ECM pod as our protection and our formation and the way we flew. But we roll in and we would try to achieve at least a 45-degree dive angle. And by the time you roll in, try to get your airspeed, your angle, and your target in sight, compensate for any wind it might be. You only had just split seconds to put it all together and release your bomb, because we had these here are just iron bombs. There was no guidance on them except you, the pilot, flying that airplane.
I understand.
And so not everybody hit the targets. In fact, a lot of them didn't. We had a lot of collateral damage. And like we said, with the advent of the state-of-the-art of the airplane and warfare, we used a lot of airplanes to hit one target. Now we use one airplane to hit a lot of targets, because the weapon, every weapon they drop is pinpointed on a target. So the airplane, if it carries a dozen weapons, can pick out a dozen targets and hit it pinpoint because of the technology improvement. But we were a carryover from World War II, in the 60 time frame, mid 60s. All that hadn't advanced to the point we could use it. They were working on it, but we couldn't use it, so we had to.
And now it's all changed, hasn't it?
Oh yeah, and now it's the pilot is just operational equipment. The equipment does the work for him. So completely different. And talking to the young pilots now, they are they just say they're say, why can't we missed it? You guys were pilots, we were operators, and even though they fly in sophisticated airplanes, the systems still do everything. But you had to work at being.
You actually did the work to make it make what was supposed to be done. Your plane just got you there and carried your equipment.
Yeah, and
Well, did that plane shoot bullets
yeah.
like that? I see you got a big old bullet over there. What
Yeah.
did that come out of?
That's a training bullet, about a 20 millimeter, and we carried 1,100 of them in this airplane.
1,100?
Yeah, the gun port was right uphill in the nose, the thing, and they were loaded in a looked like a barrel, but it was lined up. We had the gun set at 4,500 rounds per minute.
Wow. Well, that plane did everything. It shot bullets,
No,
it carried
I'm
bombs
sorry, 4,500 rounds per second, I should say.
per second.
Yeah.
That plane shot bullets, carried bombs, carried everything.
Yeah. And with one operator in it, the pilot.
You didn't have anybody else in there with you?
Navigator, bombardier, you name it. You did everything.
Wow.
And of course, this had a refueling probe and a refueling receptacle up here on the nose. And just about every one of our missions, we had to refuel. In fact, all of them just about going up North Vietnam, in the Hanoi area, we always refueled. Top off after we got airborne and got in northern Thailand. We hit the tanker and topped off. And then a lot of times we didn't have to hit them coming back. But if you stayed in the combat area very long for a rescue or what was it, then you needed fuel before you got back home. And the tankers were out there as long as we were. And but we had that capability, and I flew one across the Pacific, and we refueled going into mid-air refuel between San Francisco and Hawaii. From Hawaii, we refueled until we got to Wake Island, and from there to Guam, we didn't, went by ourselves, and from there to Japan, we didn't have to go, but it had long legs.
Well, you've flown. I'm gonna take a quick shot here in a moment. You've flown all of the planes that are up there, right?
Yeah, plus a few more.
But that was your favorite, right?
Well, this is the one that I finally did what I was trained to do in and flew combat in.
And then you trained others to do what they were supposed to.
And the last one I flew is the.
Hold on, just one second.
I flew that as my last airplane. I flew it in Florida before going to Iran. Then I flew that with the Iranian Air Force. And when I got out of that in 1973, I went to the Pentagon for a year before I retired, so that was the last one. The next one is the first 105 I flew. That's the B model. You can tell by the small code up front, and that was presented to us. My 105 checkout, it was number 29 on my certificate, and so that was presented to us by Republic. And the next one is a smaller one of the 105, and then we got a couple of one, the small one and the large one of the F100. And that's the one that was in the painting out there that my wife made. And then we got the, what we call the bent wing F-84, 84F, flew that, and then you can see the straight wing 84 sitting next to it, and then the T-33, which was the trainer that I flew for a lot of years for utility work and pleasure. I took a lot of cross countries to see my friends and stuff in that. And I maintained currency in that T-33 until 1974. I started flying it in 53, and 1954 when I went to Taiwan, then I didn't fly it anymore. And with the same thing with the F-100, I flew it, checked out in 1957.
This has been great talking with you. I've learned so much from you and your experiences, and you are just one of the most interesting people I know of on this land to talk to. We're going to wrap up this first section, but we will come back with a part 2, guys, so don't worry. Part 2 is going to be even more interesting. I'm going to ask Mr. Blake about his friend that went to the Bermuda Triangle and what happened to his airplane. I'm going to ask Mr. Blake, did he ever have to go out and chase an unidentified flying object? I'm going to ask Mr. Blake all kind of things, plus show so much of the very neat furniture and rugs and statues and articles from all over the world that he's brought back that's in his home. Thank you so much for being with us today. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for your time, thank you for your knowledge, and thank you for keeping us safe.
Well, Jill, you're certainly welcome, and I'd be happy to talk, about what you addressed there. Show the people some of the things that they may not be interested, but they're mine, and I'm proud of them. So
I'm sure they will be, sir. And thank you so much. And don't worry, you know me. I'll be back. I'm like a bad rash you can't get rid of. Thank you so much. Okay.
Okay.